This month we're going to be working on the Transfiguration of Jesus as it's told in the Gospel of Matthew. And whenever I come to a passage, I look at it and try to assess what do I think are the biggest challenges for me in terms of internalizing this passage. And then I can kind of come up with a strategy to address that. So this week I won't even be doing any actual storytelling to you because I decided there were two things I wanted to begin to think through for myself. The first is I wanted to become aware of the places where Matthew tells this passage in a different way than Mark did. And so let me just go through and note a few of those. Jesus took up with him Peter and James and his brother John. His brother is not in the Markan passage, if my memory is correct. When Jesus is transfigured, his face shone like the sun. I think probably picking up some images from apocalyptic literature that are not in the Markan text. And his clothes become dazzling white in Mark's version, like no launderer could possibly make them, right? And so there's these little, Matthew tends to elevate human beings, I think, a little bit. So he's not going to slam the launderers and say they can't make clothes as white as God is doing. There's, when Peter talks about building the booths or the dwellings, Mark's narrator tells you he didn't know what he was saying. And that's omitted from Matthew again, part of that elevating. A bright cloud overshadows him. Again, I think it's picking up on other biblical messages, maybe apocalyptic. I should also say the Moses coming down from the mountain with the Ten Commandments is clearly a reference in this as well. And then Matthew includes the piece from the baptism story. This is my son, the beloved. With him I am well pleased. Listen to him. The other thing I decided to look at, because I know a Markan version that was written to preserve orality, I suspected that the NRSV translation eliminated some of the marks of orality that were in it. And I'll show you the passage here. Hopefully it will come across. All of the red ands are in the Greek and were eliminated in the NRSV, so I put them in again. Sometimes there's a then or a when the and is translated in, but I think in the technical languages it's a parataxis. It's this sense of unfolding of things, and especially in the beginning when the events are happening, it creates a sense of one thing happening after another, as though things are spinning out of control. Another thing that's done to eliminate some of the oral characteristics is the repetition that exists in the Greek is eliminated at two places in the English. One of them is a fairly easy fix. So this is my son, the beloved. With him I am well pleased. Listen to him. The very next phrase. And listening, the disciples fell on the ground. Right? So there's that link between listening and listening. And then secondly, in the NRSV, it translates Jesus, he comes, he touches them, and he says, get up. But I think a better translation is rise up. It's the same verb that comes up in the end of the passage where it says, the Son of Man has been raised from the dead. It's hard to make that connection in English because of the rise and raise. The tense, verb tense, makes it difficult to have a clear echo. But nonetheless, I think with gestures and people's knowledge that rising and raising are related words, you can help them see that connection. So for me, it's helpful to talk through a text before I start internalizing it more deeply to see where the challenges are. I hope this was helpful for you. I'll include this passage beneath if you're looking at this in the early sermon seeds page. Thank you.